Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Theresa Feverts, and I know who you are. I know who you are over there. You are a divine, brilliant spark of the divine. And I know who you are. You are a unique incarnation of the divine. I know who you are at home. Each one of you are that divine spark, that light, those characteristics of joy and love, the beingness of the living spirit, each one of us, right? And we show up uniquely incarnated with this dream, this passion, this urge within each one of us that's unique. It's divine. It's just for you. It's just for me, right? And when we all come together in that fullness, that allness, that beingness that is spirit, man, we're unstoppable. We live in a loving and supportive universe. We live in a context that encourages that lifts that celebrates that. If you open your eyes to see it, it is here. I guarantee you it is here. It is within you. It is all around you. That's what we come together to do every Sunday morning. That's what we come together to do, to recognize that, to help each other recognize that. I'm going to keep saying that we live in a loving and supportive universe. I am going to keep talking about this being a spiritual universe and each one of us being a spiritual incarnation of the one source and substance of all life until every single one of us are seeing it everywhere we look. Until every one of us are feeling it deeply, no matter what experience we're having. That we are living it, that we are experiencing it, and that we are expressing it. Amen. This whole year is about living everyday wonder, and I'm so juiced about that. I love this topic, living everyday wonder, and it challenges me. And so I'm challenging you this year to rise to that offer of living everyday wonder. In the midst of our challenges, do you remember there's a power and a presence within you? Do you remember that? If you do not, you need to keep showing up. Do you live with wonder and awe and joy and delight in every circumstance that happens? If you don't, you need to keep showing up. And that goes the same for me. I keep showing up, Teachers teach what they need to learn, right? That whatever that saying is. But now's the time. Now's the time for all of us to awaken to the spiritual magnificence of this thing called life. Now is the time for us to shift to shift what we're focusing on. It's time for us to up-level our thoughts. Moving from the inside out means we have to know what's going on the inside, right? There is a spark, there is a light, there is that unique calling, that dream within each one of us, but sometimes it gets covered up. We want to know why we're here. What is our reason? Because there's no accident. There's no accident that each one of us are here at this time on the planet. No accidents. Something's happening. Something's happening. Something's calling you. Something's calling each one of us. And it's calling us into a richer, deeper, fuller, a greater experience of this thing called life. I want to read to you just a little excerpt out of Ernest Holmes' How to Change Your Life. Very basic. I love it. So straightforward. He says that we have to get acquainted with the characteristics that make up the kind of life and then work and cultivate them. The kind of life we want to live. The kind of life you want to live. So you got to get familiar with the characteristics, with that stuff inside of you that you want to cultivate, you want to work on, you want to cultivate. He said each one of us might think of ourselves as an outlet through which the activity of spirit may flow. Oh, I love that. And then he goes on to say our task is to more fully express the nature of God. What if that was your only purpose? To more fully express the nature of God. And then he says, to just that degree, we are making God known to mankind. Whoa! What if it's your job to make God known to mankind, to humankind? What if that's your purpose? How about that? Each one of us has the privilege and the responsibility of being a clear channel for the flow of God through us as us. I'm going to read that last one again, and we're going to take it into prayer. Each of us has the privilege and the responsibility to be a clear channel for the flow of God through us as us. Oh, yeah. That is what I know. That is my job. That is the job of each and every one of us here in this beautiful garden. That is the job of every person tuning in from home, from wherever you're tuning in from across the globe. My job. And I use the first person for each one of us. My job is to awaken to that spiritual magnificence within me. My job is to become familiar with the characteristics, with the love, the joy, with the authentic way that Spirit wants to move in, as, and through me. That's my job. It's my responsibility. And it requires my discipline. And so what I affirm for myself and for each one of us right here and right now is that everything we need is granted, is given with ease and grace, everything. And this morning, we are awakened, this day, this moment, now, awakened to that which in us, which is trying to get our attention. Something's calling. Something's calling. So whether it is in the music, it is in the reading, it is in the message, it is in the breeze out here. Oh, it is in the sun, it is on the earth. It is moving in, as, and through each one of us. And it is a delight. It is a joy. It is the living Spirit seeking our attention, wanting to move freely and fully out into expression. The way is made clear, here and now, and so it is. Namaste, good morning. All right, we have a beautiful, beautiful friend of ours here with us this morning. An amazing light. A dear friend and an amazing light in the world. And so she's going to let her light shine now. Kat Graver.
Something's calling me. calling me. Something's calling me deeper than I've ever been before. Feel like I'm walking on marbles. Can still the earth beneath my feet. Is my head in the clouds, my naked legs left dangling. I can feel my heart begin to pound. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. A long dark night, my soul it wanders. Can't see the light that moves me. God is everything and everywhere that I belong. Spirit gently wake me from my sleep. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Hold me close, draw me near, take me deeper than I've ever been before. Hold me close, draw me near, take me deeper than I've ever been before. Hold me close, draw me near, hold me deeper than I've ever been before. Love is calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Compassion's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. My faith keeps calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Peace is calling me. Peace is calling me.
Thank you for that deep, soulful start to the morning. I'm Jennifer Johnston, and I'm your reader this morning. I thought I'd start with a piece from A Season of Peace. These are daily messages I've been receiving throughout the month of February. Faith is the thought of the day. When Cesar Chavez was organizing farm workers in California, he challenged them to say, "Sí, se puede." Yes, it is possible, when they didn't know how they would overcome obstacles. Today, say, yes, it is possible, even if you don't know how your goal will be realized. Have faith. You will find a way. Today, I will say, yes, it is possible to every obstacle I meet. I will write down 3 things I am having a challenge with, and to each one I will write, it is possible for me to overcome this obstacle and to be successful. And the second reading is from Creative Ideas, A Spiritual Compass for Personal Expression by Ernest Holmes. The gladness of living. Affirmative prayer means that we clear the mind of all doubt and fear and turn in faith to the great giver of life. It means that we become aware of the presence of God within and around us, here and now. It means we affirm this presence and accept it quietly, calmly, and peacefully in all of its fullness. We let go of every anxious thought, surrender every doubt and fear. We look out upon the world and say that it is our world, and it is a good world because it is God's world. In this knowledge, we receive confidence and inspiration from the source of all life, and divine love guides our every action. I now accept the domain which God has given. I accept the life which Spirit has implanted within me, and this life reaches out to everything around me in joy and gladness, and with the blessed assurance that all is well. I affirm that there is nothing that can hinder me from entering into the fullness and completeness of my own self-expression and perfection of being. In this, I have a faith, a conviction, an assurance that cannot be moved. For as a child of God, I am established in and surrounded by God's love. Only joy, happiness, and gladness fill all the days of my life.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you very much. Woo. That first song we did was called Something's Calling Me by Jamie Lula. And this next one is an Eddie Watkins song called Walkin' with Spirit.
Talking with Spirit. I'm learning from Spirit. And I'm turning to Spirit. And I'm growing through Spirit. And it's showing through Spirit. Walking with the Spirit in front of me. When I find myself one of those situations that's leading to some kind of drama or confrontation, I go within and get plugged in to my friend before it's too late. I put the Spirit in front of me to make those crooked places straight. I'm walking with Spirit, and I'm talking with Spirit. I'm learning from Spirit, and I'm turning to Spirit, and I'm growing through Spirit, and it's sure enough is showing. Walking with the Spirit in front of me. When I find myself in one of those situations, when I don't know what to do and I got no explanation, I go with them and get plugged in for a revelation. 10 times out of 9 it'll be just fine without my participation. I'm walking with Spirit, and I'm talking to Spirit. I'm learning from Spirit, and I'm turning to Spirit, and I'm growing through Spirit, and it's showing. Walking with that Spirit in front of me. Let's do it again, Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm walking with Spirit, and I'm
talking with spirit,
I'm learning
from spirit,
and I'm turning
to spirit,
well, I'm growing
through spirit,
and it sure enough is showing. I'm walking with that spirit in front of me. Yeah, I'm walking with that spirit in front of me. I'm walking with that spirit all over me.
All right. Yes.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's it. Oh, my God, Kat, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, my goodness. That was some good stuff, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Awesome, awesome. Jennifer, your reading was so spot on. I just love how that happens. Let Spirit do it, and it happens just fine every time. I'm amazed. So, as you know, this whole year, living everyday wonder, and today we're wrapping up this inner life. You know, how we live everyday wonder from the inside out, right? So we began the month with the sound bath, with meditation, awareness, you know, because that really is the central part of what we're talking about. I mean, without that, we don't know what's going on in the inner life, you know, right? We gotta become aware and then open ourselves up to even more than what we're aware of that's going on. So we pause and find the cause. We did that the second Sunday, which was teasing apart, you know, our thoughts and the feelings and the beliefs underneath the thoughts and the feelings, because that's the way it. We've got this underlying belief, you know, and we've got this underlying belief. Then from that comes some kind of emotion and feeling. Thoughts. You know, we got a thought around the belief, and then here comes that stuff that comes out. We want that stuff to come out to be love, to be peace, right? That's what we want. So last week we looked at those feelings, the feelings of anger. There's many layers to anger. Remember, I was telling you that Brene Brown said that at least 20 of the 87 emotions in her book are associated with anger. So we can't just say angry. There's something there. So tease it apart. Get familiar with it. Get to know it so that we can let it go when we need to let it go, right? So we want to clean it up, clear it up. So that's what last week was about. Today we are consciously creating the life that we dream about. We're going to get busy with it, you know. Now, I'm going to say right off the beginning, and I said this last week, not everything that happens in the world was by our choice. All right? Do you hear that? So our friends in the Ukraine did not choose to be in war, right? I'm going to say they didn't create the war. Because everything in our lives, we either create, we allow, we promote, or we step in. Remember that last line? Or we step in. Because there's this thing called collective unconscious, the subjective mind, that depository of all thought. And some of thought is crappy thought. Some thought are the angry thoughts. Remember I said most people can only identify 3 feelings when they're having them. Happy, sad, angry. You know, happy, sad, mad. So there's some junk in the conscious collective. There's some junk. And sometimes thought is stuck in that junk. That's why we were working on cleaning it out last week. We need to be able to articulate that junk. We need to be able to articulate what is happening inside of us, what those thoughts are connected to, old stories that no longer apply, all of that. We want to get clear about that. So it's important for us to do our own personal work because there's a collective pool of thought that is operating. And I think that most of us here, and those of you that are tuning in at home, would agree that most of that we're seeing playing out in the world is not real pretty right now. Is not real pretty. But I think there's a good news. Maybe it's the clearing out. Maybe it's the clearing out. But what we want to do is to be able to go to those foundational beliefs that we have. We want to be able to rise from those foundational beliefs. And if our foundational beliefs need some tweaking, we want to work on that, right? So my foundational beliefs are universal spiritual principles. That's what we talk about every Sunday in some way. And the basic one, the main one, is oneness. Is that there's one source, one substance in all the world, everywhere present, in me, in you, in each one of us, in this building, in nature. And the interesting thing is, okay, well, first, there's not two. There's one, right? I don't believe in the devil, and I don't believe in heaven and hell other than what we're creating, with our thoughts. So if you think about the trees, the sun, the moon, the breeze, all of this, it's created by nature, right? That's created on a cosmic level, if you would. But this garden was created by people doing divine work. The hands and feet of God, if you will. Yeah? We can look at all life that way. This podium, this little clip right here, somebody's creative mind came up with this idea to do this. Well, there's one mind, not two minds, not millions of minds. One mind we all tap into. It's creative, it's intelligent, right? One mind we all tap into. Think of that pool again. There's some crap now in there that we want to clean out. But here, anyway, at Centers for Spiritual Living, we have a collective agreement that we want to operate and see the world operating from a place of love. Unconditioned love. Love that doesn't matter whether you just bumped into my car or not. Love that doesn't matter whether you lost your temper and said something angry, although there's a caveat there, we do need boundaries. But love and peace, we agree that we want those characteristics, those attributes to prevail, right? But think about, what if everybody lived from that place? What if everybody knew that they were a divine spark? That before I was born, the divine said, well, I want to see what a Theresa would be. Let's have a Theresa. Let's see how she can express in the world. Robert, Kat, Jennifer, Diana, right? What if everyone lived from that place of recognizing the sacredness of who and what they are? What if? What if? Well, we probably, and then we were able to see each other that way. Well, then we probably wouldn't have some madman thinking that he could just go over and take somebody else's house. Somebody else's home. Somebody else's livelihood. Place of business. Land. Garden. It wouldn't happen. It sounds so Pollyanna, I know. It's so simple. But my God, it's got to be true. If I know who and what I am, and I know who and what you are, you're a beloved. I would never tread on you in any harmful way. This is basic, people. It's basic. It's foundational. And can't you see how transformational it would be? And so we all shake our heads and say, yeah. And yeah just isn't quite enough, is it? We got to step fully, completely into who and what we are. Breathe in that possibility right now with me. Breathe it in. Imagine. So we all have personal dreams we want to come true, right? Individual things. We want greater health. We want, love, an intimate relationship. We want things, right? We want things. But I want us to just take a moment and recognize the difference between dreams, fantasy, possibility, imagination, right? Differences, subtleties within those things, you know? Fantasy. I'm probably not going to be a prima ballerina. That ship probably sailed. And I started taking ballet lessons when I was just a little itty bitty girl. And I probably am not going to play for the women's professional basketball league. But you know, I used to play basketball. I was pretty scrappy on the court. But that's probably not going to happen for me now, right? But it doesn't stop me from shooting hoops or dancing, right? All right, so fantasy. Fantasy's kind of free-floating, kind of far-fetched, kind of, you know, far from reality, maybe, right? Maybe that's kind of what fantasy is. But we use our imagination in really powerful ways. We all have in this room. We use our imagination and our thoughts to create, and we can use it in a greater way than ever before to create the life that we want to live. We can use imagination and creativity just as we've seen it done in our society to birth new concepts, new technologies, new things that are good for society. Well, you know, the Centers for Spiritual Living have a vision to create a world that works for everyone, for all things, for everyone, everywhere. Whew! Isn't that awesome? Don't we want to be behind that, like just 150%, like in it? Yes, 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 sign me up. So for me, the vision is to teach these principles, like I said earlier, until everyone gets it. Until everyone gets it. I often say we have 2 feet planted. When they're planted firmly, we have one in our humanity and one in our spirituality, and they walk together, right? We want to always be aware of that. We want to remember that when I step into something, that there's a higher, greater calling for me, something calling me, right? Always, every step. Ernest Holmes said it this way in the Science of Mind textbook. He said, we live on 3 planes. 3 planes at the same time, mind, body, spirit, right? But he's cautioning us, I'm going to paraphrase him here, he's cautioning us not to lean too heavily in one area versus another, not to disregard the other 2 when we're leaning into one, because then we're not balanced. You know, if we're only living in a physical plane, we're going to become what he called a brute, you know, but a creature of habit, animalistic, you know, but if we live only in the intellectual plane, well, we might be very scientific and uber smart, but we might lack a little perspective, a little perception, a deeper perception. You know, there's no real insight or awareness or experience then. And to live only on the spiritual plane, he says, might cause one to become a dreamer without a practical way of making his dreams come true. So see, we want to marry it all together, right? We want to marry it all together. I love this teaching. Humanity and spirituality. Humanity and spirituality. Practicality and spirituality. Love it. I found this really awesome. I was introduced to this really awesome book. She's talking about what does it mean to dream. So let's just go there for a minute. What does it mean to dream? I just love this. It's a book, 5 Gifts for an Abundant Life, written by Diane Harmony. And she says, to dream is to open yourself to the thoughts of God. I've never heard that before. I love that. Take that in. Feel it. To dream is to open yourself to the thoughts of God. To dream is to become consciously aware of the desires of God that want to come through you. Gives you another definition of dream, doesn't it? To become consciously aware of the desires of God that want to come through you. To dream is to choose a thought and to say yes to it, like Jennifer was reading. Say yes to it. To dream is to surrender into the mind of your heart. The mind of your heart. Ooh, the mind of your heart. Where the invisible divine idea can find fertile soil to grow and become no matter what the external circumstances. I want to read this sentence again. To dream is to surrender into the mind of your heart where the invisible divine idea can find fertile soil to grow and become no matter what the external circumstance. To dream is to step beyond what is to be what can be. To dream is to dance in the realm of all possibilities. To step outside the box. To try on. To stretch and to grow. To choose to be a vehicle for a holy manifestation. Oh my God, that's marrying it all, right? The practical and the spiritual. To be a vehicle for a holy manifestation. To dream is the first step of receiving the gift of intentions. We get to choose. We get to choose. We get to choose. We get to decide. And then take responsibility. To nurture. To allow that to grow within us. Remember, I've been using this book, In Awe from John O'Leary. Remember a few weeks ago I told the story about him taking his little boy to a ball game, and his boy took this glove, and he's saying, you don't need that, you're not with the chances of you catching a ball, you don't need it, and you're going to lose it, you're going to leave it at the stadium, and his son's like, oh no, I'm taking it. Well, you heard the punchline, so his son caught the ball. His son caught the ball, right? And then the next year, because they did this every year, he came home with another ball. And John's saying, I thought he was just a lucky kid. But as Emerson said, shallow people believe in luck. Yeah, shallow people believe in luck. Think about hopelessness and bad luck that people believe in. Shallow people believe in luck, believe in circumstances, but he said strong ones believe in cause and effect. It's a practical aspect to catching a ball at a major league game. You got to take your glove. You got to pay attention. You got to be watching the game. You got to be ready. You got to practice. You got to be disciplined. You got to be on it. Paying attention, right? Wasn't luck. Wasn't luck. My twin grandsons are counting down the day to their 5th birthday. They're watching it every day, checking it off on their little calendar that hangs on their door to their bedroom. Their birthday's in May. But they're expectant. They have a sense of expectancy, right? Children do that, right? Children just so naturally do that. Everything's a first for them. Watch a kid ride in an elevator, ride on an escalator, ride in a plane, ride on a bus. It's, oh my goodness. It's a delight. They're taking it in. They're paying attention. They're in wonder. They're in joy. Because it's the first time they ever did it, You can cultivate that. You can cultivate that. It's simply a choice. It is simply a choice. A choice how we're going to approach life. From the inside out, with a sense of wonder and awe? Yeah. So in his book, where he's talking about how we get to choose, he writes, we get to choose. We get to decide which person we want to grow into. We get to determine what kind of life we want to lead, and what type of legacy we want to leave. And I think about our beloved Mindy and the legacy that she left. It wasn't by accident. It was very, very intentional. It was very deliberate, right? He says, what if we could go back to a place where everything was awesome? What if we could enter each situation with eyes that expect not routine but adventure? What if you looked at your spouse or your partner today in the way you did the first time you met? Wouldn't it revitalize your relationship? What if you walked into your job with the anticipation you felt on your first day? Wouldn't it change the way you looked at your work? What if you walked into your house and looked at your children with awe? The awe that was present when they were first placed into your arms in the hospital. This is what he calls first-time living. First-time living. We got to get back to first-time living. Get out of the rut of been there, done that kind of thing. He says the fact that each one of us is here. Remember last week we did the little meditation? The fact that each one of us is here is nothing short of a miracle. Perhaps it's time we start acting like it. That's powerful, isn't it? Perhaps we started acting like it. You're not ordinary. There's nothing ordinary about any one of you sitting here in front of me. There is nothing ordinary about you. So stop acting like it. Stop acting like it. You're a unique incarnation of the divine. And you can get quiet and ask what wants to be expressed. What wants to be expressed through me? Because I know something's calling you. I know something's calling each one of us. This life is an amazing gift. It's just an amazing gift. And losing 3 friends in 7 months, damn it, I don't want to waste this gift. I don't want to waste my time here on planet Earth. I hope you're with me. I hope you're with me on this. We choose the attitudes that we bring to life. And we can choose to align with the fundamental beliefs in oneness. If we just did that, how might your life in this world change? I got another reading. I've just been really inspired this week. So I have another reading for you. Do you know the Optimist Creed? I didn't know it. I didn't know it. It was written in 1912 by Christian D. Larson. Of course, I know who Christian D. Larson is. And it was in his book, Your Forces and How to Use Them. Very science mind, isn't it? Your Forces and How to Use Them. And it was adopted as the Optimist International Creed in 1922. It's used by healthcare workers, by coaches that teach athletes, that work with athletes, and all this. So, this is how we can now motivate ourselves. They motivate athletes and cancer patients and that kind of thing with it. Let's motivate ourselves, huh? So if you want to get into kind of a meditative feel for a moment, just go within, take a deep breath as I begin to read the Optimist Creed by Christian D. Larson. Promise yourself each one of these statements if it feels like it's fitting for you as I read them. And then you can breathe them in. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind. Breathe that in. Nothing can disturb your peace of mind. Promise yourself to talk health and happiness and prosperity to every person you meet. To make all your friends feel that there is something worthwhile in them. To look at the sunny side of everything and to make your optimism come true. To make your optimism come true. To think only of the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best. To be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. Promise yourself to forget the mistakes of the past and press on to a greater achievements for the future. Breathe that in. to wear a cheerful expression at all times and to give a smile to every living creature you meet. To give so much time to improving yourself that you have no time to criticize others. Breathe that in. To give so much time to improving yourself that you have no time to criticize others. To be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. Just too damn happy. To think well of yourself and to proclaim this fact to the world, not in a loud word, but in great deeds. In great deeds. To live in the faith that the whole world is on your side, so long as you are true to the best that is in you. I beg you to spend your time this week listening to the silence, communing, getting to know that living spirit within and how it wants to move and express in, as, and through you. Namaste.
Here's another Eddie Watkins. Listen to the silence.
Your intention into the void, the universe is waiting, ever present at your command, eternally creating, there inside the silence, deep inside the silence. Listen to the silence. Deep within your sacred place, where unity and peace dwell, you can hear that still small voice say things only to you it will tell. In the silence, deep inside the silence, listen to the silence. Never-ending joy, never-ending peace, never-ending light, never-ending ease. All that is and all that was is all that will ever be. Feel the boundless power endlessly unfolding. Here inside the silence, only in the silence, deep inside the silence, there inside the silence, listen to the silence.
Thank you, Kat. And thank you for the opening song, one of my favorites. So much to take in, in a moment where I'm here to talk about circulation and supporting our Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast, and the message about silence, to be in that place of imagine, to be in that place of it's possible. And then I'm guessing some of you have the news turned on and you're wondering, well, how can I be in silence? How can I be thinking about what's possible with all this stuff going on? Well, I'd say you're going to need to practice what my friend Michael Beckwith used to talk about, which is to get rid of the weapons of mass distraction. Newspaper, TV news, all that good stuff. And you say, oh, but then I won't know what's going on. I guarantee you, I don't watch TV news, but I have enough people talking around me and to me that I know enough about what's going on that I could get very disturbed if I didn't have a practice and wasn't reminded in practice coming here every Sunday and thinking about being here on Sunday. Because even though, like Reverend Theresa, I've been in this a long, and like a lot of you in this audience have been in this teaching a long time, we have to continue to work to be in that space that Gandhi talked about, of being the peace that we want to see in the world. Being the peace, being the love, being the joy, whatever it is, whatever is the one that resonates. And in this moment, just to think about, as we are powerful circulation bodies, beings, spaces, spiritual expressions, however you think about it, and we bring that forward, and by circulating our energy in the form of dollars and cents to support this center, we support this intention for the world around us. So I just take a moment and bless the giver and bless the gift, and know that as we give, we support and build this wonderful ministry called the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. Love and blessings, and it is done. Thank you.
Thank you, Rev G. Everybody can sing along here. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
I love each one of you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I love doing what I get to do, so thank you for supporting this ministry. Thank you so much. I just have a few announcements. I really would like to see, we've got a nice group here today. You guys are all nice. I mean, a nice size group, but we could take a few more peeps. So, come down, come see us here at the Sarasota Garden Club. We've got plenty of space to be able to social distance. You can be inside or outside. Obviously, we're outside. At the moment, we're still taking reservations, but I think that may end pretty quickly. But I'm not the board. I'm just one of them. So, The email is revji@proton, P-R-O-T-O-N, mail, M-A-I-L.com. And just send an email and let us know that you want to be here. It's as simple as that. Or walk in, because right now we're probably not going to have an issue going over. Rev G has a book club coming up, The Power of 8. That's starting March 10th. You've got an opportunity to be in person with him and online. So wherever your comfort level is, that's going to be a hybrid. It's a book group, and The Power of 8 is really an important book for them to kick this book club off with, because it's talking about the power of being in a small group. And so you're going to see more and more of that stuff happening here. I sent out an email to a few of you just yesterday. And that, we used to do this social time after our service on Zoom when we were just broadcasting live. And so we were doing a Zoom social time. Well, we're not doing that Zoom social time, and I miss you. I miss you. And so I want to figure out how we can do it. Maybe that needs to be another day of the week at another time. Maybe we need to start back our visioning on Tuesday mornings, because I know those of us that were involved in that, we miss that. But anyway, stay tuned. Make sure you're getting our emails. Make sure you're paying attention to what's going on. And for those of you here in the room for an offering, we have a couple baskets strategically placed, one outside here and one by the front door. And thank you again for supporting our ministry. And with that, I'm going to have Kat come back up for a closing song. And
those of you who would like prayer support.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, just a couple more things. Sorry. Science Mind magazines for March are here. So if you want to pick up a magazine, those are here. If you're at home and you want one, let me know. I'll send myself or somebody over to bring it to you. Also, there's a rally for our LGBTQ friends. Here in Florida, I announced this last week incorrectly, but here in Florida, our government has decided that using the word gay, speaking of sexual orientation in the school system, is not going to be allowed, not going to be tolerated. I think this is a crime against humanity, in my opinion. Here in Florida and everywhere across the globe, I just finished talking about how we are each the divine spark and incarnation of the one. Every one of us is a beloved. Every one of us is valued and a beloved. So I will be putting on my sneakers and walking over there from here in just a few minutes. And I think that's all I wanted to say. You can finish up.
Thank you, Theresa. And if you'd like prayer support, please email prayer@cslculturalcoast.org. And Kat, we'd be okay if people want to sing along on this one, too.
It's so much more enjoyable if they do. Honestly, so much more enjoyable.
And the birds.
And the
thank
birds.
you for the birds.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna sing about our little light now. Y'all ready? Yeah. Well, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Well, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day. I'll let my little light shine, yeah. Oh, everywhere I go, oh, I will let my little light shine, yeah, yeah. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let my little light shine. Well, everywhere I go, let my little light shine every day. I'll let my little light shine. Even when I'm feeling low, I'm gonna let my little light shine. Yeah, when I'm feeling low, I'm I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, when I'm feeling low, I'll let my little light shine every day. I'll let my little light shine. Come on, one more time. Woo! For this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, yeah, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Yeah, yeah, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine every day. I'll let my little light shine. Oh, every day I'll let my little light shine. One more time, come on. Ready? Oh, every day I'll let my little light shine. Yeah. Woo. Indeed.
Cat Graber.
Thank you, guys.